Good afternoon, and we're back for a fantastic new episode of The Club. And as you can see, I'm joined by my sidekick and right-hand man, James Dawes. Great to have you back.
Yeah, it's great to be back, George. Really excited about today's episode. Obviously got a magnitude and a multitude, should I say, of guests on the show today, ranging from obviously Luca Piano and Shay Leahy, both U18 players currently and from the UK, much like ourselves. Right through to some of our younger players, which we're really excited to get their feedback, see how they've settled into life at the academy. And we've also got an exclusive interview with a Femenino, obviously a massive result the other day against Algeciras in the first round of the quarterfinals of playoffs. So a lot to go through, but I think we're starting with Casper first.
Yeah, Casper, obviously the man of the moment, just had a fantastic trip to Paris Saint-Germain. What an experience. I was lucky to accompany him on the trip, and even for myself, great learning to be inside such a fantastic club. And let's have a look at the video before we welcome him on.
Back to the streets.
I got to train with the PSG players. The trainings were very intense. I was a bit nervous, but as soon as we got into the training sessions, I was feeling good. I bonded with the players well, and I think I felt it in the game as well when I played 90 minutes. The connection was there. I didn't feel left out, so I'm happy about that. And hopefully it's not only this time, that I'll go back there in the future too.
To the cherry red Benz, two-seater, only you, no friends. Now to begin, the wheels are spinning. Crisscross and I'm gone, I keep it on. Doors open, so baby girl get in. I still rock your body till dawn. Big body beamer with the 22s floating. Windows down with the whole top open. Hit the switches, let's bounce down the road. To the show, let's go. Here we go, here we go, here we go. Oh, here we go, here we go, here we go. Oh, here we go, here we go, here we go. Oh, here we go, here we go, here we keep it moving.
Ooh la la. What can I say? Amazing scenes, amazing footage, and welcome to Casper, or should I say bonjour?
Bonjour. First of all, thanks for having me. It's great to be here. It's first time I've done something like this, so I'm excited.
Amazing, no. It's been lovely to be part of your journey this year, and obviously you've been a highlight of the U19 squad, and we're delighted to be joined by an integral part of that team as well, and Ryan Bowen. How are you getting on, Ryan?
I'm good, thank you, George. All good, no complaints.
But obviously, let's get straight into the meat of it. Going to PSG is not something that happens every day. How do you take that? How do you take that kind of opportunity? And to be honest with you, how do you keep yourself grounded this year? You've heard that you're a good player. You heard that you're doing well. You're getting progressed through our club. You're getting noticed by other teams. How does that make you feel in your self-confidence in your day-to-day?
It makes me feel good. I've played football for a long, long time, always trying to get noticed. So I feel like the hard work is paying off to get noticed by all these teams with PSG. So I feel happy about myself, but can't get complacent. Always gotta keep pushing to get better and better. So
you definitely preempted me there, and I was going to say, having seen inside a club like PSG, seeing the training sessions, I know I heard you mention you felt the tempo was a step up. What have you taken away personally from that, and what are you going to try and look to implement into your game, and what advice would you give to your teammates back here at the club?
At PSG, I feel like the players get along quite well. They know each other more, and the cohesion in the team is a lot better. At Malaga City, there's a lot of boys coming here together from different countries, and then putting into the same team and try to play together, it's really important to get good results. So, and for me, so far, all the boys that have been here are really friendly, and I've gotten along well. So, and I believe some of the success is because of that.
And Casper, for me, obviously you played a lot of big games this season, PSG probably being one of the biggest of them all, but how do you take that experience from playing in those sort of games and the pressure that comes with that to then implementing that in a training environment, you know, where you're going into a new group of players as sort of an outsider and dealing with the pressures that comes with that type of experience?
Yeah, obviously in big games, I feel like every player will be nervous in those big games, but it's just something to get over. You know, it's one chance only, so just gotta put everything out there. And in training sessions, it's just about the environment. The players have to push themselves, have to create like a more competitive environment, and that makes everyone better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And a personal question for myself, you know, I was fortunate enough to be present and watching your first training session. I felt in the start, you know, it was quite challenging with the language.
Yeah.
You know, none of us speak a very high level of French. And what did that open your eyes to? Obviously, you're already speaking multiple languages. Is that something since you've come away, as we're still waiting for sort of final feedback, you go into pre-season, is Duolingo, French lessons, anything you've looked into, or?
I've looked into Duolingo. Yeah, to get a bit of French in. Yeah, I feel like having multiple languages is useful. There was one boy on the PSG squad who spoke Spanish, so he made it easier for us to understand the sessions and everything, so we were a bit lucky. But yeah, I feel like every language you learn will come in handy.
And tell us, you know, what was it like pulling on that badge and representing that team in the exhibition game you got to play?
Oh, it felt very good, you know, and I also scored a goal, so I'm really happy. I can say I've scored a goal for PSG, and maybe 50 years from now I can say, oh, I was so good.
Yeah. And sort of a question from me, you know, did you walk away from that experience and was it a big motivator to say, you know, you're very close to being at that sort of level? You know, did it dishearten you in terms of the level that those players were at? What sort of feeling did you come away from the trial with?
It gave me a little bit of a taste of the, you know, professional world, and just kept on motivating me to keep on working and get another opportunity like that, and hopefully make it stay like that, you know.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. And Ryan, what's it like working with a player like Casper day in, day out? How has he been?
Oh no, it's a pleasure. It really is a pleasure. It's when someone like Casper comes into the team, it just like the motivation from all the other players really makes a big difference. You know, he injects that, like, people just want to play around Casper, you know what I mean? And people understand that he's probably one of the better players in the team, but everyone wants to play with him, and he just, the level just steps up. It really does in the training sessions.
And you've obviously been a coach here for a number of years now at the academy and seen a lot of talented players, especially in that U19 setup, go through the club. You know, in terms of that, like looking back on those particular types of players, what do they all seem to have in common, do you think?
I think sometimes it's the small things in football. I think like they all have determination. They all have consistency is the big one. I think just in training every day, bringing a consistent performance in training every day is really difficult to do. So the players who do that, they're the ones that tend to like progress in football. I think if you can, and even if the levels drops off a little bit, but if they have that consistency and they still work and they still work hard in the sessions, I think then the quality of the player will shine through in the end really well.
Obviously, we're so lucky to have someone like yourself at the club. You know, background. You know, played a lot of senior football yourself, and you know, fantastic sports science background, and been involved at some huge Premier League clubs. What sort of similarities, differences, what stuff do you bring? What stuff do you think is not applicable to the Spanish game? Give us a little bit of background on yourself and what you see a difference with our boys.
Yeah, so I played like semi-pro pretty much all my career. Probably just pretty much at one club really at Burskell. We came through the leagues, the lower leagues. We came up to a good level. We won FA Trophy. I think it's 19 years today, but since you won the FA Trophy. Actually.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. But going back to like the differences, like I mean, football's obviously changed a lot now. But I think going back to like what we were saying before, like determination, consistency, you just cannot beat it in football. If you can bring that to every training session, and I think it's difficult sometimes for the players to come every session and be the best they can all the time. But like I said before, the players who can do that, they're the ones that will definitely go on and make it.
And from a physical preparation side, obviously you're a massive part and a driver behind the systems we have in place here and things like that. And we're constantly looking to your knowledge and trying to pick your brain a little bit more. You mentioned there, obviously, you know, great achievement winning a trophy 19 years ago today. How would teams and players prepare differently from when you were playing in that cup final to how a modern professional player should be preparing? What sort of things do you see from the information you have?
I don't really think there's a massive difference. I think, obviously, coming to like the big games, the finals and things like that, players, even senior players, they're going to get nervous, which is good. It's good to have some nervous energy about you. The coaches or the managers can like try and harness that nervous energy in players. Or sometimes, for me, just going back to when I played in that big game in the trophy final, there was one thing that the manager said to me that day, and like just settled me nerves straight away. You know what I mean? And I think that's probably overlooked sometimes. That it can just be like one little
management.
Yeah, man management, and it can just be that man management thing that turns you around, or you know, because I was probably nervous that day, but like I say, that just that one thing that the manager said to me, and straight away settled me straight away.
Yeah.
And he probably said that to like many of the players, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Probably a different thing to each player,
Yeah.
but he probably eventually settled the whole team down.
That's fantastic.
And just from your side, Casper, again, linking back into that, so you've got people around you that are obviously experienced and coached at a variety of different levels. You know, we always pride ourselves on providing that professional environment. So just linking back to your experience in Paris, when you went into that environment at one of the biggest clubs in world football, was it a big shock, or did you see a lot of similarities in sort of the setup, how the training sessions were run, and the level of detail as you see here in your experience at FCMC?
It was not as big of a shock. You know, I would say there were definitely some similarities in how the sessions are being handled and how trainers approach trainings. For me, the only difference was maybe the warm-up. They do quite a specific warm-up for quite a long time. There's different stages with rubber bands, and then they do some jogging, stretching. You know, it's really
Push-ups, that's what you're doing.
yeah, push-ups too. Yeah, my arms are hurting. yeah.
That's awesome. And right, for you guys, just going back to, obviously we've got, went to Valencia last week, you guys. Obviously there's a group going to Atletico Madrid next week, and then we're all now really excited for the Barcelona trip. As being a coach as part of that team, obviously with squad selections and looking for the best 11 to represent, our club, and the boys to give themselves the best representation. How much when you're working with Sean or working with Van Moya, how much does the result hurt, maybe the coaches, and how does that differ to maybe the playing squad, and what's your opinion on that?
The results, if you lose, it always hurts. It's never nice to lose. No one likes to lose. I know like we don't play, it's not like a results guided, the academy, but I think even so, it's still, you take something, yeah. Leading up to the games, I think a lot of it is getting buy-in from the players. Like, if we're going to play like someone who's in a lower Division A, Division A North or something like that, then we can express ourselves, we can impose our game on them.
Yeah.
If we know we're going to play the likes of PSG or Barca or Valencia or something like that, then we've got to be honest with ourselves and have a bit of a reality check and think, well, are we going to have the ball? Probably not.
Yeah.
Do we need to alter the system? Do we need to change things? And in most cases, we will do. But you've got to get the lads to buy in, to say, listen, you're going to spend a lot of time without the ball. Don't switch off. Put in the hard yards. Be proactive. Don't be reactive. Don't react to things, because otherwise it's already gone. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You've got to be proactive. Get in place early, and you'll save yourself them hard yards. I think that's how we would approach. Maybe change the system. Will we put more defensive-minded players in? Yeah, and I think we should look at the team, see what they're bringing, see if Barca, pretty much know what they're going to bring, quality, but how are they playing? How are they? Can they? As long as we stay in the game as well, stay in the game for as long as possible makes a massive difference. And I think if you drill that into the kids early on, and get them all to buy in, I think it makes a big difference on the day.
Definitely.
Yeah, and just on that, so again, linking back to the years that you've been at the academy, no doubt, obviously, your approach to the games like Barcelona and obviously the bigger games doesn't sort of falter in that, because they're always going to be so talented on the ball and have such good players. But how have you seen the level sort of change over the years to now be competing and seriously competing? When in the early days at the academy, a lot of it was built around the experience, but now we find ourselves sometimes, or in a lot of occasions, going to these clubs and really providing a tough test for these huge professional clubs.
I think that goes hand in hand with every year when you go to these big games, you learn something new, and I think coaches are always learning. We're not the finished article, and you never will be. You know what I mean? So on like not just in the coaching side, but the preparation side, mind games, you know, psychologically and stuff like that. And I think we learn every year. So every year the coaches build up, and you're getting more knowledge of the game. You're getting more knowledge of how you should be doing things, or maybe a different way of doing things, not necessarily how you should be doing, because football's not like that, is it? But different, you know, a different way of doing something makes a big difference. And I think then when you do go back to them games, you've learned something new, and you try and if you implement that in the next game, in the next big game, hopefully you'll come out on top and you'll build out year in year.
Better than our coaching debut down in Sevilla that time, huh?
Yeah, not a good day.
So, Casper, any final thoughts from you? Obviously, George mentioned, you know, the big games that are, you know, still yet to play for the remainder of the season. How are you feeling going into the last home stretch?
I'm feeling good. You know, we've come so far here. I feel like the team is getting along well now. And everyone's fit, everyone's ready. We'll be preparing for the next few weeks for the games, and hopefully we can put up a good fight. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, well, great insight there. Thank you, Ryan and Casper, for your time. But obviously, as we move on next, we've got two Brits in the house, in Luca and Shay. Excited to hear what they have to say, George.
Fantastic. See you after the video.
So I would say football is a kind of life you choose, you know. It's passion, it's sport, it's something you enjoy. Watching games, playing games, it's amazing. I would say it's amazing. It's a kind of life you choose.
Atletico Madrid, always one of my absolute favourite trips of the year and one of our longest partner clubs, and can't believe that we're getting to go back inside the doors again next week, and we're joined by two of the squad members from Adrian Dominguez and Mariano's under-18s, and fill us in, J-Mo.
Yeah, these are two guys that, you know, I'm fortunate enough to have known for a while now and actually brought them to the club, but as well as being fantastic footballers, they're also fantastic people. So guys, we built up the introduction. How are we doing?
Yeah, not bad. How are you guys? All good?
Yeah, good.
All good. No, it's exciting, the Atletico Madrid trip, and I mean, there's a fair squad. It's like 18 of us going, and there for 3 days, 3 nights, and at the game, going to watch 17s play as well, which would be good.
And Luca, obviously, you know, going to be a great trip. And how do you feel though personally? You're still injured at the minute. You know, obviously for a keeper having a hand injury is not ideal. So. Not that you keep too many out the back of the net, but how do you feel? Like, how does it make you react, or what can you contribute to your teammates, knowing that you're building up to such a big game for you guys, one of the biggest of the season, and you already know that you're not going to take part?
Well, it's just about sticking with the team, and almost as if the leadership role is more important now rather than me as a player and me as the goalkeeper. I usually am the one communicating and leading. Well, I'm going to have to be doing that off the pitch, of course, and that's just the way it is. But I just look forward to Villarreal and maybe the other trips after that I might be involved in, and just hoping to get back on the pitch. But I just want to be around the boys and supporting them.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And how's the dynamic right now? You know, obviously, fantastic news with Adrian and his partner about to be parents for the first time. You know, and obviously, you know, Mariano's taking on the reins. Have you seen a difference, or in the training, in the approach? How's things been, Shay?
I feel like training in general with Adri, without Adri, has been fantastic. I mean, we're a great group, very good bondage between us. So yeah, I feel like losing Adri is a big miss, obviously, going to Atletico and a place like that, but Mariano is fantastic.
And I remember speaking to you guys, you know, Shay, you especially, you know, to think now that you've been to Sevilla, Celta Vigo, you know, we're talking about Atletico Madrid trip for a player that, you know, was sort of hovering around the semi-professional level, you know, to now have that experience behind you and have played in those games. How does it feel going into the latter part of the season and looking back on what you've accomplished so far?
I feel like semi-professional football in England is a lot different to academy football in Spain. Academy football in Spain is like quick, high tempo, like very small players, which are harder to deal with than the big players. So I feel like I take a lot more from the academy side of the Spanish than semi-pro in England.
And how often would you be training before you came out here? What would a typical week look like, you know, a semi-pro side back home?
It'll be like training Monday, Tuesday, rest Wednesday, training Thursday, rest Friday, play Saturday, rest Sunday.
Right, okay.
So coming into a full-time setup, I feel like I've improved a lot.
Yeah.
And you can see from the start of the season to where we are now,
Yeah.
the squad
It's
has just
frightening.
improved. Yeah.
Yeah. No, you guys, I think, has been probably one of my personal favourite squads at the club this year. Like you said about the cohesion, but also I think you've been on a journey of development. You've got, you know, mix of guys like yourselves that are very mature and obviously top players in your own right, and sort of experiencing and enjoying that full-time environment. And also a couple of younger players that have really blossomed this year, you know, like your Paul Shaws and things like that. And I think you've got a super strong squad to try and finish the season off.
So Luca, George just mentioned there, you know, transitioning from that part-time environment into full-time football, and although it sounds fantastic for so many players who, you know, love the game, tell us what the stress of that's like in terms of the workload, you know, in terms of the demand on your body, and how do you have to adapt to that once you get into an environment like this?
The main thing is off the pitch, is if you get all of that right and you're sensible and you're doing the right things, you're going to be able to manage with the workload. Initially it's difficult, it's not easy going from training twice a week. For me, I was injured for 75% of last year, so I've gone from doing not
Next to
much,
nothing.
bit of rehab, next to nothing, to training every day, and that was difficult initially to get back up with, but once you get your food right, you get your mindset right, it's an amazing environment because you're training 5 days a week, 6 times maybe if you don't have a game. Usually it's 5 times with a game, maybe 2, and it's just so much more. It's the only place you're going to get that professional schedule without being in a professional environment.
And
So
you said there about mental. Do you feel it's taxing mentally as well to have to bring your best every day? You know, you're turning up, you want to play these games, you want to get big minutes and things like that. And obviously maybe you come in on a Monday, you have a bad session, next day you've got to come in and do it again. Talk us through that.
absolutely, I mean, personally, how I see it is that helps me. If I've got going Monday, drop a clanger, have a few stinkers in training through the hands, and I come in, I just go back. I think, all right, it's done now.
Yeah.
Can't affect it. You can't go back and do the session again. So you get the opportunity the next day, and that's something I really like, and that really helps me thinking there's always another day to improve on.
Yeah. And Shay, you talked there about the improvement in the squad, you know, generally over the course of the season. What about on a personal factor? What's the biggest difference that you notice in your own game when you look back? As I still remember you turning up, you know, first days and whatnot, and you seem really at home in this environment now. But when you look at your own personal game, what's the biggest improvement you can see?
I'll probably just say composure on the ball. Like with the passing style of play that Adri and Mariano play, very composed on the ball, get a lot of the ball in the 6, playing from right to left, left to right, getting a lot of the ball, I enjoy it. So England, backwards and forwards, it's a lot more, you have control of the game, and yeah, I'd probably just say on the ball a lot.
Definitely.
And I think, you know, obviously we're talking about Lucas, you know, struggling for the Atletico game, and yourself, you know, you've had your fair share of knocks this year. How have you dealt with that? And I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit. Do you think that's been complete bad luck, or do you think some preparation issues are coming there as well?
I'd say coming back, when I come back from the Christmas break, I got thrown straight into the game.
And see the Malaga, no?
Obviously, obviously got injured there, but it was bad land. I don't know. Could have been bad luck. Yeah. I'd say bad luck.
Bad balance.
Terrible balance. Coming back from that, obviously great physios here. I've done well to get back. I was supposed to be out for 6 weeks. I got back in 3. So
Which physios you been working with mostly?
Nesta.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And Luca, a lot of players, you know, when they're looking at the academy, they're sometimes looking at coming in sort of midway through the season, as was the case with yourself. You know, arrived here in January, You have to go into that new environment and sort of state your authority there, especially in a position like goalkeeper, right, where only one person can play. So just give people an idea of that adaptation process when you came in and not necessarily coming right from the first day of the season.
Well, like I mentioned before, I was injured for a long period of last year, and I ideally would have been here for a season. But coming in January, having known Shav, and Shav played together for the last 5 years, so I knew him. Everyone is a captain of the 18s, so I go into the 18s. It's an easier way. It was an easier way for me to get like integrated with the team. But yeah, it's coming in. Everyone's so open. Everyone's so friendly. They're mixing with people all over the world. So what's one more person from another place in the world? Yeah. It was really easy to make friends, and I really enjoyed it. And as a goalkeeper, you have no choice but to settle in. You will settle in because everyone's going to have to rely on you. And that's just the way of the position. Yeah. So I enjoyed it.
And I think last question for me is, you guys are close to the end of your U19 journeys, sort of going from year of birth and things like that. Inside our club structure, obviously, you've got the academy squads, which has a lot of glitz and glamour and all the great things we're talking about. I remember watching you down in Seville. James actually came along for a drive that day as well. What's it like seeing the senior teams above you and say like FC Malaga City on the cusp of promotion to the Football League system? We've asked a few people this question. What does that mean to you guys? And do you watch many of their games? Do you watch what habits those players have? And tell me a little bit about that. Maybe it's important, maybe you don't see it as anything.
Yeah. Well, for us to see the Malaga City seniors on the cusp of promotion to Tercera is amazing, because we sit and watch in the apartment on the TV of the Malaga City senior on all the streams. And there's just so many things everyone can relate to, because all the teams play the same formation, system. It sort of gives, if we're playing, one team was playing 3-5-2 and the first team was playing, or the senior team were playing 4-4-2, it'd be completely different. Yeah. But I don't know, for maybe as a right back to see the senior team, their right back, how they play, so I can adapt that into my game. I can take bits of their game and put it into their own game. I think that's really important to see, and having that structure all in the same place, all in Almun. It's a lovely city. Having that all in the same all in the same place and learning off each other just benefits everyone.
Do you guys see that as an attainable goal? Do you think you can progress through to that level?
I believe so.
Yeah, I believe so. I feel like with a 23 step up in between the 19s and the senior football, I feel like the 23s would be the stepping stone. So it's good that the club has that as well. So get us ready for senior football.
Do you guys speak to Jacob much? Obviously, you guys are from the same areas. Obviously, coincidental. Had similar coaches back home and things like that. Is that someone you guys look to get some tips and hints from?
Yeah. I feel like him and Torben are the two seniors that we speak to the most. Yeah. Very beneficial being in the same environment as them.
For me, having Neil around as well. Neil, the senior team goalkeeper, I speak to a lot. I've got a good relationship with him, and Jacob, obviously being from the same place as us, he's a character, and it's good to have him about, and it's good to speak to the people in the senior team and get their opinions on things.
And just final one from me, we get asked a lot, when players are looking at, again, committing to this programme, like what happens at the end of sort of my season or the journey, and what can I take away from this experience? So now you're getting into the latter parts of the season. I mean, me and you, Shay, were speaking about obviously what's next for you after this, maybe a few trials back home and maybe a return. What can people expect to walk away from this experience with after a season with FC Malaga City?
I feel like you're always going to be better than how you came, so it's only beneficial coming here really. Like for me, I feel like I've become a better player and a person off the pitch as well. So I can only take benefits away from it, really.
That's lovely to hear. It's really nice.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, like I said, to see you guys now when we first started speaking about this process to now being sort of accomplished members of the team, looking to really push on to to senior positions, the U23 squad, etc. A lot of people underestimate, George, roles like us to hold in terms of the development of these young men, but seeing now two players that you're sponsored to bring in brings a lot of pride to the role and a lot of reward. So I don't think you two are done yet. I think there's still a lot more to come, and just excited to monitor that progress.
Definitely, and I think try to get a clean bill of health and enjoy the games that's left, and best of luck for the rest of the season. Absolutely fantastic. Thanks for your time coming on.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Maybe I was confused, or did you feel it too? In that room, it suddenly just felt like it was me and you. 'Cause I forgot about your friend. What's his name again? I really can't recall a single thing of what he said to me. It was just like waking up from a fever dream. When I found out that you have someone else and that she knows about me. What a waste on such chemistry. But if we could the rules, you would be with me. If I'm not supposed to think about you like this, then universe up. 'Cause every single thought leaves your name on my lips. Universe up. Wish I could cut myself loose, but I hold on to you. Now I'm in your city, wasting time. Oh God, I wish you knew. I hate being in between. I wanna make a scene, still hoping for you and me. Wondering what could have been. It was just like waking up from a fever dream. When I found out that you have someone else and that she knows about me. What a waste on such chemistry. But if we could the rules, you would be with me. If I'm not supposed to think about you like this, then universe up. 'Cause every single thought leaves your name on my lips. Universe up. You know I don't believe in like fate, but lately things have happened that I can't explain. You're miles away, still I know what you're thinking of. The universe up. Losing it, I'm going crazy. Trying my best just to stay awake. Losing it, I'm going crazy. This feeling is driving me half insane.
Work together today, bro. We don't care, no moaning today. Let's just play football. I'm being serious now.
Give it your all.
Let's
Yeah,
work
boy.
for each other. We beat these guys. Let's put the coach.
Let's go!
10 minutes right here, boys.
'Cause every single thought leaves your name on my lips. Universe up. You know I don't believe in like fate, but lately things have happened that I can't explain. You're miles away, still I know what you're thinking of. The universe is up.
It's definitely a great experience to be able to come out and play these games. Definitely once in a lifetime opportunity.
Amazing trip there to Valencia, a place that we're lucky and fortunate to have been a numerous amount of times now, you know, and it never seems to disappoint, George. But yeah, next up we've got some of the younger members of the FCMC Academy. Boys, thank you very much for joining us. But Harry, we'll start with you. Obviously from Gibraltar, I lived there for the past 4 years, but tell us how, you know, a younger player, you're 13 years old?
Yeah.
Tell us how you've settled into the academy so far.
Well, I joined around 2 months ago, and the older ones, you could say, have brought me under their wing and supported me through the first few weeks until I got comfortable and made a few friends. And yeah, working day in, day out, doing training every day, I'm really enjoying it at the moment.
Oh, amazing. Yeah. And obviously, Henry, yourself, again, joined the season, right? And also studying alongside, so you've just turned 14. Happy birthday for yesterday. I've got to give you a big shout out for that. So tell us a little bit about being a younger player at the academy. You're obviously balancing academics against obviously the football schedule and whatnot. How have you found that?
Yeah, it's a bit difficult playing with the older ages. It's a lot more physical and like quicker football. You don't get much time on the ball. With the education as well, it's not as difficult, but it's more relaxed. You don't need to rush everywhere. You can take your time, work from anywhere. And it's just basically the perfect way of living.
How's your grades going in terms of the education side? You keep on top of the bookwork as well? It's going okay?
Yeah, doing all right. Could be better. But I think at the moment it's just get your head down and work through the end of the season.
And I think you guys, massive credit to we've got a few players getting younger each time they come to the academy now. But what made you want to make the decision to be away from home, away from mum's cooking and things like that at such a young age?
Well, if you want to become a professional, you have to commit. If you want to get somewhere, you have to commit to working and doing what you need to do day in, day out.
Yeah. And do you have moments where you sort of miss being at home and things like that?
Yeah, you have moments where you're missing home. Give them a call. They give you a tap on the back and you're back in. So it's all good.
I know yourself, you're obviously coming from Hong Kong, so a little bit further away than these guys. Tell us your reasoning, why you decided to come to FC Malaga City, and also the level difference between what you experienced in Hong Kong and obviously here at the academy.
Oh yeah, first of all, I love here so much, and this is the first time I play with the Spain football style, and I love it, and I feel like a lot of improvement under this academy. And if you say the between of the here and my country, I would say most of is the tactic and the coaching. They are more focusing on the discipline and the tactic. It's so different.
Which coach have you been working with predominantly this year?
This year is Pablo and Biri, and I love Biri so much. For the tactic, he's the best here.
Yeah. He's a great guy. Fortunate to be an ex teammate with him. We were young enough to still run around like you guys. But Mr. Ho Chang, I remember you specifically had a lot of emails, a lot of questions before you came. How have you found the reality? I'm sure coming so far away from home, you were quite apprehensive before you came here. What would you say the process was of when you were waiting, preparing to come to when you got here? Did you feel more relaxed once you arrived, and how did you find the transition?
Yeah, the first month I've been here, September, I was I already feel so relaxed, with the training and with my friend, meeting friend here, and I love we have a lot of game and we have a showcase game, and yeah, because as you said, I have a lot of email before I came here, because my parents and me was you have to go all the way to the Spain, it's so 12 hours away to there, and we say you have to make sure everything, yeah.
Totally.
And is there any particular moment, you mentioned there the games, or is there any particular moment since the beginning of the season that sticks out as a top moment during your time here at the academy?
Oh yeah, I play a game against Mallorca in the December, and that game is really good. And we fly take an hour to go there and have a great trip.
How was the facilities?
The facilities is amazing. It's like a La Liga team. You can go there and play a friendly game with them. It's an amazing trip.
Obviously for you boys, Harry and Henry, you've got this to look forward to. You see the academy teams now playing, Barcelona's, your PSGs, you mentioned there Mallorca as well. How much sort of inspiration does that give you to, keep working hard, because, you'll have those games coming your way in the seasons to come?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I just got to push myself to get to the higher level of the ages that I'm playing with, and then looking forward to playing against these higher teams.
And also, obviously you're playing here at the academy, but you're also, we were talking before we went on the camera, being involved in an international setup as well. What do you find that brings to your game? And tell us a little more about your experience so far, the Gibraltar national team setup.
Well, first of all, I'm allowed to commit to the academy, play here through the whole year.
Yeah.
Then in summer break, winter break, whenever there's breaks, I'm allowed to go home, train with them, play matches with them, but also fully commit to this, because this is a great place to be to improve.
Yeah. And Henry, what about yourselves? So we've talked there about the football, and no doubt the football schedule is, it's full time and it's intense. But there's also time for downtime, for being young people, and enjoying living in a beautiful part of Spain. So what do you guys get up to in your free time?
I just relax, go to the beach, play football, do a bit of table tennis, and that's it really. Play a bit of FIFA.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, after the first few weeks, you start to meet people and you hang out with them in their rooms, and you just get closer to each other and enjoy having free time.
Have you made some good friends here?
Yeah, I've made friends over the past few weeks.
Who's your best friends?
Junior, Henry. We live in the same hotel and same floor, so we just go to each other's rooms in free time.
Hope you're behaving.
Yeah, we're behaving.
It's all a bit crazy.
So you've obviously had the taste of the bigger showcase matches we mentioned there, Mallorca. and you know the other games that you played in this year. So looking past this season and you know for your future, you know what do you have as future aspirations? You know after this year.
For next season, actually I've signed a contract with the Portugal second division.
Wow.
The U23. So, of course, this year I improved a lot, and I have sent a video to them, and yeah, my agent helped me a lot, and I'm happy with that too. Yeah.
Fantastic news. And will all three of you boys now go next week to Madrid? That will be your guys' first time travelling away from the academy, is that right?
Yeah, that's going to be a great experience, training with like all these great players, even our age. It's just going to be such a great experience.
And what are you looking forward to most about it? Obviously, you've been on a few trips already. Are you looking forward to Madrid next week?
Yeah, it's like less than a week too. Like,
yeah.
And we have a game too, and we might have a training with Real Madrid too. That's what the coach tell me. Yeah.
We're very excited for it. And when these big games come along, does it change your mindset, or do you start focusing differently? Does it change anything in your approach, or are you always 100% focused on everything?
Always 100% focused. If you lose that 100%, you're not going to beat them. You're not going to be at their standard.
And obviously, you know, guys, like we said, you know, credit to you guys because you know coming to the academy at such a young age. You know, especially obviously the boys here at 14 years of age, it's not easy, and no doubt it's difficult sometimes being away from family. But what's your advice to players at that young age that are considering, you know, joining the academy, maybe moving away from home for the first time? What advice would you give, you know, that type of player?
Remember what you're here for. You're here for football, so you have to just concentrate. Bring your parents at night. Bring your parents in the morning. Go train. And do it again. It's consistency. If you want to be better, you've got to work.
Can't forget the schoolwork though.
Yeah, can't forget the schoolwork.
Good answer, isn't it? But no, it's great to hear. And you mentioned there, Harry, you know, you've been taken under the wing by, you know, a few of the senior age groups, and I think that's one of the benefit of all being in sort of one place is that the older boys do try to look out for the younger guys. I mean, you're eating together, you know, you're seeing each other in the gym, obviously at training sessions and whatnot. So tell us what's that like, you know, to be in the same environment as, you know, some of these older players that are now, you know, trying to ascend and progress into the professional game.
Yeah, it's really good because when you look at them, you almost want to, they're like your idol. You want to look up to them and be like them and work like them and just do everything the same. So yeah, it's really good.
Yeah.
Really good.
Yeah. Henry, again, like we said, you've been away from home for the first time and whatnot, but you're also returning back here for a second year, so you must have enjoyed yourself over the period you've been with us.
Yeah, it's been amazing. Just the training and living the lifestyle of a footballer is just the most ideal life. Like, you can't get better.
Amazing.
Really nice.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. Guys, anything more? I know your families will be watching this, no doubt, and you know, I'm eager to hear what you have to say. So, is there any message to your family back home? Obviously, they've provided you with an amazing platform to be here at the academy. Does anybody want to say any words to the families back home?
Yeah, I miss my family.
Oh, that's really nice. That's really nice. Are you back home soon? You mentioned you know, obviously the season's come to a close. Are you excited to go home for the summer?
Yeah, obviously. I'm ready to go home, but obviously I'm ready for the match like next week too. Like, so.
We'll enjoy.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Well, boys, just want to say thank you again for joining us. We hope you enjoyed your day out at this studio. And to be honest, I think a few future stars in the ranks there, George.
And international Gibraltarian, going to be beating Malta again anytime soon. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. And next up, obviously, you know, earlier on in the week, I had the pleasure of catching up with the Femenino team who, as we mentioned at the beginning of the show, recorded a really important 1-0 victory over Algeciras in the playoffs, looking to go a step further than last year, George.
And we're closer now, you know. I think obviously it's getting to the real crunch time, but I think good cohesion in the squad, and always nice to win. Now it's the first leg of the Andalusian Cup. Obviously won the Malaga Provincial League. We've been drawn against Algeciras from Cadiz. 2 legs, 1-0 up now, going away to Algeciras this weekend. Hopefully get the job done onto the semi-finals. But I think to be four games away now, 4 wins, and we're into the national category. Obviously some nervous legs now, and everyone's got still that bad taste and bad memories of the semi-final loss last year.
Absolutely, but I can't see that affecting this group. Like we said, they're strong-minded, and I caught up with Parker Lee, Marilina Spagnolo and Addie Gaelic earlier on in the week. Hi guys, I'm joined here today. It's kind of a special episode really because we haven't had a chance to actually have the female team featuring the club so far. But today I've got Marilina, Parker and Addison with us. They're going to give us a little bit of an insight into the season so far and obviously hopefully some future predictions ahead of the playoffs. Recorded a very important 1-0 victory the other day, ladies. Congratulations on that. Parks, we'll start with you. How are you kind of feeling after that game?
I'm feeling good. It wasn't our best game to be fair. Like, to be honest, we I think weren't expecting to see an opponent come out that strong and ready to compete just because, they're from a different group. And so, but it was really good. I think it showed us like there's some good competition out there. And it was a physical fit for sure, demanding the whole time. And so today was a demanding training session, and tomorrow and Friday will be too, to prepare for Sunday, which is going to be a completely different game compared to a Monday because their field is much different than ours. So we just have to be ready for it and ready to win.
Yeah, and obviously for yourself personally, this is the second season, kind of second running at the playoffs. We kind of know how that ended up last year. So, devastating at the end after such a successful season. But the girls have kind of mirrored that success earlier on, undefeated in the league campaign. How is the kind of feeling in camp, obviously going into that second leg and looking to finish the season strong?
Yeah, no, it's good. Definitely a little bit weird feeling for me having been in this position last year, and especially we did so well last year and same for this year. But yeah, this year I think the girls are strong and wanting to get all the way this year. As you know, it's super important how close we were last year. And so I think we all just are trying to have that competitive mindset ready to go for Sunday. If someone messes up, that's okay. We just are trying to focus on encouraging everyone in trainings and to kind of get our fitness up for it because it's going to be another physical game. So yeah.
Yeah. And how does it feel, obviously, like we've just mentioned, being in this position for a second time, but now as a captain? So how has your role kind of changed in amongst the group, not only on the field, but off the field as well?
I don't know. It's funny feeling. It kind of gave me a little not PTSD, but I have a little bit more different nerves, I think, than the rest of the group, just because I want to make it to the final this year. We were so close last year, and honestly, last year I don't think we lost because that team was better than us. I just think unfortunately we didn't play to the best we could have. And so with this team, I feel like I've stressed it so much of guys, I know this feeling. We just have to play to our best ability, and we'll be able to make it as far because I know we're capable of it. But then, yeah, I don't know. This year with being as a captain with this team, I think I've really enjoyed it. I like this team a lot. They're really fun. Especially Mara being another captain with me. It's just been awesome, and I think they're a great team and listen and really are motivating with each other. So it's been good. I'm excited, and hopefully we get to the final this year.
Yeah, fingers crossed. And I just wanted to, get your sort of opinion, because obviously you came from sort of the US collegiate background and so on. You compete for conference tournaments and you've got that sort of experience behind you. But how different is it here when you get into sort of this playoff contention, with promotion at stake? How do you kind of approach that?
I don't know. For me, in college, my team, we made it to the national tournament 3 years, and it was, really intense and stuff, especially our first year going, which was my sophomore year. That was our first time making it. We're really happy to be there and to make it this far. And so it was super competitive too. I just think here in Spain, the way that we play, it's totally a different style of football. And especially, like you said, it's for promotion. It's to keep going as high as you can to build this club. And so I think that is almost a little bit more pressure because especially this team only being a second year, we've done so well. And so it's just okay, we know we deserve to be up there. And so it's fighting for that for the club and for the group too overall. And so it's a different kind of pressure, but it makes it almost more fun to compete for.
Yeah, and then you mentioned Marilina there to your right. I'm just trying to figure my bearings, obviously being on this side of the camera. But so Marilina, you come from a similar background, but obviously from the Canadian side of things. So this is also your first season with the club, and obviously the first season going through playoffs. So how's your experience been so far? Parker mentioned there, obviously the change in kind of style.
Yeah, I mean, so coming from Canada, the style is very different. And with my university, we were able to make playoffs and everything because in Canada it's very different. So to come here and see how they move the ball in Spain and just the progression and just the composure, it's beneficial. And like, I feel more confident playing in Spain than I did actually back home. So, you know, there's still the drive, because as much as like back home, I wanted to, you know, make the finals, it's still being put towards in this. And I know like Parker wants it. So when I see a lot of my teammates wanting it, it just makes me want it more. And obviously, like, you know, for a future, you know, path on football, like I want to make sure I'm doing the best every single day to make sure that it's 1 foot forward each time.
Yeah, and when, you know, we're speaking to players about this opportunity, we always say that Spain poses a very different sort of style of soccer, obviously, to the traditional North American style, you know, and even more so for goalkeepers, right? So fortunately enough, you're very, you know, talented with the ball at your feet. But just tell players a little bit about that transition, you know, and that learning curve, because you come from an environment where you're kind of a senior, you know, an elder player in the team, an experienced player in the team, and then you're kind of learning all over again, you know, obviously working with Miguel and the coaching staff here to kind of adapt your game almost to the requirements.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people know that, you know, like as a goalkeeper, you still have a very important role using your feet, because that's a extra person to use and to utilize during the game and have that free man. So I'm very fortunate that Javi and Josemi, my goalkeeper coaches, have, you know, drilled that, worked on my footwork, making sure I'm able to be confident to pass the ball around, even in difficult situations. And I think that has translated during the games. And, you know, I always make that ball to Parker. So I'm very confident with that too. But yeah, and, you know, Miguel has done a good job even to transition me into practices as well. That way, you know, I'm more aware of certain surroundings as well. That way I'm just not, you know, a deadbeat goalie back there.
She's for sure not. I'm pretty sure she's broken some girls' ankles a few times, so it's pretty awesome.
One thing I want to touch upon, and I think one of the reasons we've been so successful this year and also last is because of the team spirit there, and even more so in such a tough game like Algeciras the other night. I think the girls commented on the enthusiasm and the energy coming from the bench. And I know Umar, for example, you know, you've got Ayana there that's kind of backing you up and obviously pushing you in training every day. Obviously, Ceci for the earlier parts of the season. Tell us how important it is to have that sort of inclusive environment in order to get the best out of each other.
Oh, it's very important. Like, you know, it's a positive environment because, you know, you're both working for it, but you're also helping each other out. That way you're pushing them and they're pushing you. That way you can, you know, see yourself go beyond the limits that you've already, you know, thought you exceeded. But it's so important to see. Even Ayana just encourage me all the time. It's just like, I know she's, you know, I know that she's a great keeper. And so whenever I get to train with her, it's just like, this is going to be intense, but it's going to be awesome. And we always have fun with it. So even just like, you know, in training, whenever all of us have our practice, you know, we always want to compete with each other, and we always make sure like we're going to push each other, and it's going to be good, because in a game, you can see that it's translated for us to even beat our defenders or beat the fullbacks. Like, and it's just awesome to have all that environment around. Like, it just makes football so much more better.
Mayor, very briefly, just last question for you here. So, you know, we're all aware of the amazing opportunity that you had earlier on in the season, obviously going over to Italy and training and trialing with a first division team. So I just want to kind of recap on that, because for a lot of players that come here, they come with the intention of moving on to opportunities like that. So how was that experience as a whole when you look back on it?
It was great, to be honest. I think it gave me, you know, a standard to where I need to be at. And, you know, it was obviously nerve-wracking at first, because obviously I'm just the, you know, foreigner going into their country. But looking at it, it's like, you just have to think like they're trying out for you. You know, you got to see what you like here, because even though they have the title of first division team, it might not work your style. You know, you might not want to stay in Italy, but, you know, just seeing them, they were phenomenal. Just the work ethic, you know, they never stopped. And like how their structure with their drills, and then how all the players, they all come in, they all have that mindset. They're there for an hour and a half, they work, and then once they're done, they're relaxed, and then they're ready for the next day. So it's good. And that, you know, I try to think about translating that when I came back, you know, making sure that, you know, when I'm on the field, once I step on the field, you know, you only have an hour and a half to train. So make it your best no matter what. And then after that, enjoy, relax, and get ready for the next one. But it was a really great experience, and I think it's a good start for me on what I need to work on and then where I can go with it.
Amazing. And talking of sort of like in the same vein of opportunities and sort of aspirations, Addy, we come to you as sort of one of the younger members of the team this season, a player that's played a lot of minutes, you know, for a younger player. And I just want to start by obviously the news that we heard recently that you've a Division 1 program in ODU, right, in Old Dominion for next season, which is incredible. And first of all, congratulations on that. But tell us a little bit about that, how that came about and that choice as a whole.
So when I came here, obviously COVID was a big factor in coming here. Everyone kind of got an extra year. College was kind of, is this going to happen? Is it not going to happen? So I decided to take a gap year and come here. And since we've been here, our games have been videoed. Miguel helps us create highlight tapes. So being able to have the footage to send it, even when I'm this far away from the US, was really helpful. So that was a big part in getting in contact with coaches over there.
Yeah. And how do you think like this experience, I mean, like I mentioned, sort of at the younger age category here, but you're competing with players such as Parker, such as Marilina, that have been very, very successful at sort of the collegiate level. So how do you feel the experience of training with these type of players day in, day out will sort of help you when you move into that college environment?
So even playing in the aspect where Spain is a little more technical, I get to keep the ball, I get to move it around, but also competing against Mayor in training and even Parker in training, just having to go into every tackle and learning to be physical is really, really helpful for me since I did not come with that prepared. But the fitness in training versus the fitness, just straight fitness, has also helped because I know for college, I'm just going to have to start running. But to be able to do long training sessions, it's helped me get more and more technical, which has been really helpful.
Definitely. And for young players such as yourself, you know, we kind of look back on this year as we enter sort of the last phase, you know, games against Atletico Madrid, you know, PSV, Cordoba, you know, some big games there in teams. So what's that sort of experience like playing against teams at that age, that level at sort of the age you're at the moment?
Well, coming from the US, I'd never expected anything like that. Obviously, I played ECNL, played very high level in ECNL, did ODP, and then going to Atletico, and then even playing PSV, just seeing what soccer holds. Obviously, I know where my level's at. I want to continue to grow, which is why I came here to learn a different style of play and just to experience where soccer can lead me was just awesome. I mean, standing in the midfield against Atletico, where the player I'm playing against plays on the Spanish national team. She's moving all over the place, and I'm just like, where did she go? It's just crazy to see the movement and how fast and the speed of play can be.
Yeah, and obviously, like we said, you'll move on after this year to, you know, obviously to ODU and next 4 years of college, obviously working towards your degree as well. But give us a highlight so far, you know, some memory that sticks out, whether it's on the field, off the field, about this experience.
I think my highlight has to be the PSV game because most of us came in the day before. So we had 2 weeks off for break and we came in and we played the next day, but we all played well. That was one of our better games. And to be on a team where we have 2 weeks off, we come in from flying, we played that high level team for everyone to be committed to their fitness and to hold themselves accountable for their touches, even when we're not all together. And then to come back and play off a jet lag and to commit to it and to be there, that was incredible for me. To be on a team that wants to play, that wants to compete against this super high level team. That was big for me.
It was kind of cool because they were getting frustrated a bit because
Yeah.
we were actually doing well and they were just like, let's pick it up.
Wow, which is at the high level. For us, I think it was like shocking that we're like managing because we're just like, all right, good job, guys. Like, definitely all help.
Amazing. Well, girls, I just want to thank you for your time. You know, it's been a long time coming to get to this point, but like I said, I'm very confident in you guys getting the job done, and can't wait for the next game. So thank you for giving up your time, and you know, hope to catch up with you guys soon. Okay.
Yeah. Thanks, James.
Thank you.
Bye, guys. Wow, it was a great experience, obviously, to catch up with the girls after the playoffs, and I must admit, I came away from that chat even more confident than going into it. So still a lot of work to do, George, but yeah, it does feel like this season could be a little bit different.
I hope so, and I think the team feels more settled. Obviously, great squad depth, a lot of talent throughout the ranks, and the only thing for me, which I feel we could benefit us, was to have maybe a few more of last year's squad to have that experience, that pain, and bring that in with a bit of passion. Obviously, Parker sort of carrying the flag, and what a season for her, what a journey for her here at this club, and I'd love to see her get us over the line as a captain, wearing the armband all year. It would be something very special for sure.
Absolutely. So we'll all be supporting obviously from here in Almun, ecar, and hopefully get down to the next round of the playoffs. But again, it feels like every time we do this show, even though we see these guys on a regular basis, in and around the club, it's always nice to hear the backstories, learn more about the person behind the playing side of things, and some more fantastic guests on today's show.
I think credit to everyone that came on. The young people, the way they're talking and expressing their experience here at the club. They're doing their families super proud day in day out. But it's nice to, like you say, to get to know the person behind the football a little bit more. And I think this show, is a tool that we're trying to use and trying to expand on. And there's so much going on at the club, so much volume, so much talent, across different age groups, different sex, obviously female players, male players, and it's hard sometimes I know you do a lot of the social media to try and keep on top of everything and keep people in the know, so to speak. We have newsletters that go out, but I think it's nice to try and round things up as much as we can into these sort of power hours and try and keep in touch with families as best as we possibly can.
Absolutely, and although we approach the home stretch of the season after a long sort of 10 months, there's still so much more to look forward to. You've got obviously Malaga City entering the playoffs now. Malaga City still well in contention to get promoted to the Tercera this year. Obviously we mentioned the Femeninos, and that's not to mention obviously the academy teams and the U23s. There's so much kind of going on here, and so much to bring you guys. So hopefully you found this useful. George, thoughts ahead of the home stretch?
No, for me, now it's time to put your money where your mouth is. Hopefully you can play well in the pitch yourself. Malaga City, going to be away from home now on the 25th of May, semi-final. So win that and we're straight into the final on the 29th, and we'll all be enjoying the Champions League on the 28th of our mind, certainly on the 29th. And Malaga City, if they win this weekend, we can win the promotion away against a direct rival in Arenas, So hopefully next time we do the show, we could be sat here with 2 promotions.
Yeah, that's the dream. But just want to thank you all again for the support that we receive, especially off the back of this show. The reception that we've had after bringing news, on the club and the impact that's had has been amazing. So we hope to continue to receive that type of support, and
all constructive criticism, not too much criticism though.
Yeah, hopefully I'm invited back for the next episode. But George, thank you, and
thank you so much, and let's hope for a great weekend of football.